Welcome back to Make It Mondays, and this week I'm going to be working on a project for the Olympics. And this is the finished one. So it is an Olympic worry friend, and it has the colors of the rings going up his belly. So I'm going to get this turned around and set up, and I'll show you how it starts. So as many of you know, I don't often show my cast on, but in this case I am going to because this is a magic loop cast on. I do it with a crochet hook that's a couple sizes smaller. In this case, it's one size smaller than the knitting needles I'm going to be working with. So I take the yarn, the tail goes on the palm side of my fingers, and I wrap around. I kind of go to the back, but not really, because I pull out my second finger, insert the hook, pick up that working yarn, pull it through, loop over the hook and pull it through. And then kind of repeat of go inside the loop, pull up the working yarn, pull up another loop and work through. And in that way I am catching these stitches and locking them in place. So that one didn't work. And I'm going to go up to 6 stitches. Now, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, not hard and fast in stone, 6 stitches is too big for an I-cord. But 6 stitches is how many I'm starting with. So I'm going to slip it off the back side of the hook. It's actually why I use the straight hooks rather than one of the ones with the ergonomic grips. If I'm using one of those, I actually have to go off the hook side, which I find a little bit harder. And then the next 3 go onto a second needle. And then I'm going to put the hook to the side. So I've tightened up the loop. So that is the bottom of the foot. But right now I'm only going to work on 2 needles. So it's not quite an I-cord. And it's not quite normal small circumference knitting. It's almost magic loop, but with double pointed needles instead. When I do small circumference knitting, I do in fact use double pointed needles. It's personal preference. I have looked at the other ways to do it, and they don't work for me. If they work for you, great. So I've knit the first stitch. I'm going to come into the stitch underneath and knit through that one. So this is a left leaning increase. But I'm going to stop there on that needle. I've picked up another needle to do the next 2 stitches the same way. But this is how I go from working with the stitches being held on 2 needles to them being held on 3. Okay. And past here, it's pretty boring, frankly, because I'm just going to knit all the way up to, if I bring out one of the originals, all the way up to the top. And then those 12 stitches at the top are going to just be held on double pointed needles until I'm ready to use them. Same thing with the second leg and both arms. So I will be back in a moment to show the next step. So I finished all 4 limbs and I have started with the bottom of the body. So this is a provisional cast on. So I do it as a crocheted cast on, and then I'm going to knit 1 round all the way around. I am going to leave this on 2 needles temporarily, and it will go up to all the stitches being split between 4 needles for a little bit. Okay. So that's the first round. I do have a longer tail on this because I'm going to use that to graft the 2 edges of this hole together using Kitchener stitch. So I'm going to do a right leaning increase, and then knit one, another right leaning increase, knit one, and knit one, and that is the center back. So that's part of why I switch how many needles I use and when, is so that I don't have to use stitch markers as often. I can just use the end of the needle instead. So that's the left leaning increases, back to right leaning. So all of these are knitting into the stitch below and then knitting the stitch that's on the needle. I split yarn in there somewhere. So we're going to try that again. Knit one, or increase one, and then knit one. And then that is center front. Then grabbing the last needle I'm going to need for right now. Okay. And that is that round. I'm going to knit all the way around one more time before the next round of increases. So this is having the 8 increases around this oval does allow the little buddy to have a slightly more flat sitting surface. Okay. Last couple stitches for this round. And we're almost actually done with the increases. We're coming up to the last round of increases. So this is going to be a knit one and then increase either to the left or right, in this case to the right. Knit one, into the, do a right leaning, and I've shown this on another video, so I'm not going to show it here, but the next step after I do this increase round and knit around is to put the legs in, and that's just knitting 2 together through the back loops here first, stuffing the leg, and then through the front loops on the next round. So I will be back once we are up to the head. So now it's time for me to connect the head. As you can see, I've gone through and done all the stripes connected in the arms, but now it's time for the head. So pick up the first stitch on the front needle, first stitch on the back needle, and knit them together, and do it again and again, and it's just that all the way around. I do weave in the ends for the head first, so I don't have a random tail on the inside, but this is also so that I can have a slightly smaller neck. And the yarn decided to split, because having this disc in here pulls in the outside stitches so they come a little bit closer and make a slightly smaller neck. So I've tried to do this before without separating and just instead decreasing down and then increasing back out, and it does not create the same look. It actually just keeps stretching and stretching and makes it look really funny. So as said, I'm going to do this all the way around, and I will be back when he is all the way done. The rest is work just like the head on every other one of these little cuddle buddies, or sorry, worry friends. So the head will be increased out, decreased back in, the eyes will be put on, the mouth will be put on. So I'll be back in just a minute. And here is our finished Olympic Cuddle Buddy or Worry Friend. They will be, or they should be up on the website now. If they're not, check back in a couple days. But there are a bunch of them that should be ready for the 2024 Olympics. And I hope you have a great time watching it. And as a reminder, if you've gotten this far, please consider liking and subscribing both to this channel and to this video. And we will see you next time on Make It Mondays. Bye.